Welcome to the Valt Podcast. We are your car culture cultivators. Thank you guys once again for being here. I'm Sean, and of course, we are joined by...
Hey, Vijay. How's it going?
And Joe, how's it going?
And we have a guest host today.
Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Good to see all of you. And Joe, what do we have in store today?
Yeah, so first off, this week has been pretty crazy for me. Every single day it's been like 12, 13-hour days of work. So I'm just now coming off of like a crazy workload. So I'm happy to be here and happy to relax a little bit. Something notable that I did this week, I got to detail a very interesting Alfa Romeo, not super valuable, but they're called Alfa Romeo Primaveras. It's a 1900. It's a cool car. It's like an everyman's, like, you know, in the 50s, like sedan.
Nice.
But they made 300 of these. This car is the car I detailed.
Two-tone. Nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting two-tone too, because it's like kind of like
Different. Yeah.
it's different. Like it doesn't look like, I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting way of it's like a special coach work kind of thing. This car was pretty expensive back in the day. The paint job's okay on this example. I detailed the crap out of it, but it's going up on Bring a Trailer pretty soon, and it's a cool car. It made me like kind of understand like the mindset of the people who were buying these cars back in the day. Like everything is like pretty basic inside, but has a little bit of a touch of something different that makes it like stand out amongst another 1900 or whatever these are. It's probably I think it's Alfa's first like post-war everyman car too. So this is definitely a statement for the Italians that were wishy-washy during the war.
You know, every time I think that Alfa like made like a handful of cars, a good handful of cars, is like every week I see a new one I've never seen before.
Yeah, no, they made 285 of these in like Primavera trim. They made 20,000
Nice.
like 1900s, but the Primavera model is a coupe. It's a big coupe that they just didn't make many of. And it makes sense. I mean, like this is definitely like the back seats are pretty unusable, even though the car is pretty big.
Yeah.
But this car feels like a huge piece of like steel. It's like the doors are super heavy. It feels extremely dense. I think Courtney took these pictures too.
Nice.
It looks very Courtney-esque.
I wonder what the value will be now, because 2021 it was reserved not met at 55.
Yeah.
Bit to 55. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know Ingo's selling this car, so we didn't chat. This has 90 horsepower. So like, I don't know how valuable these cars are, other than the fact that there's 300 of them. But I'm sure it'd be pleasant to have as an Alfa collector, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my week. My week's just been detailing. I've had no time to do anything else, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's been good, but like, you know, nothing else, literally. Sean, what'd you do? Did you do anything?
I didn't do anything. It was actually just a pretty, I would call it a standard week for me in comparison to Puffy News. So,
Hell, it's better to be standard than that.
so, yeah, I did get caught with 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. So I would consider it a success.
That's successful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good week. It's a good week for you. BJ, what happened in your week?
Good. Yeah, it was a good week. I finally got to fix the 2 tires on my Peugeot, which had a slow leak. So now I can daily it again. So that's good. And it took me a while to find the right oil filter to do the oil change. So I also got that done. The oil was pretty disgusting. So finally I can hit 7,000 RPM like every gear now without worrying about blowing it up. And came and got brand new brakes. I changed out the spark plugs and filters and everything. So like the 40,000 mile service. So it's good for the next 40,000 plus miles. And
Awesome.
yeah, brakes work much better now. So yeah, it's all good with the car. And yesterday I got to experience pretty much like probably my first supercar, I think. So the McLaren Artura. So this is a hybrid V6 with like close to 700 horsepower. This is a McLaren which has taken a long time to be developed because of issues with calibration of the hybrid and a lot of teething issues and stuff with the whole development process. So finally, people are starting to get delivery of this. And yeah, yesterday I got to experience that. And like, yeah, it's, as you'd expect, it's like insanely super video game, like fast car that just does like jail time speeds without even thinking about it. Extremely well sorted chassis that's never budges no matter what you do. Into a corner, mid-corner exit, it just sticks everywhere. Still got the hydraulic steering, so it feels really nice, that sense.
Oh, nice.
But overall, the engine felt a bit synthetic and like flat to me. The noise,
V6.
yeah,
Yeah.
the sort of noise was not really getting my heart racing. It was pretty much functional is what I felt. Like a V8 would probably be more exciting, or like, I mean, the engine was just functional, although super fast. Yeah. Overall, it rides amazingly well. McLaren has some insane suspension technology as well, so super comfy. Probably a good GT car as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was my week.
Yeah. How about you? Anything?
Pretty normal week of optometry practice for me. Nothing too exciting. Kind of some catch up because I was gone for a week. So this is my first week back after England. And catching up on jet lag. Going to England, I really didn't experience any jet lag, but coming back, hit me for a while. And it was probably Wednesday night, Thursday, first night I actually didn't wake up automatically at like 3 a.m. and be ready to go for the day. So feeling like I'm back to normal and sleeping again.
There you go.
What did you drive here?
The 126 560 SEL.
Nice. So
What
this
did
is,
you did you drive or did you rent anything?
I rented a car. I did. Yeah, so I flew. So I was just in England besides Goodwood, there was an optometry meeting. There's this international optometry group that I do some stuff with, and that was in the north, and Goodwood is in the south. So I flew into Heathrow, rented. Originally, I went online to 6th, and I rented a Peugeot, and I wanted something just basic but different than I would have here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then, I arrived and had been on a plane for 10 hours, and I got to the rental car counter, and it was raining, and I was tired, and the guy's like, oh, we don't have any Peugeots. And I'm like, well, I kind of like something that I don't have in America. And he's like, you guys have Audis in America? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I could put you in a Q2 for 40 pounds extra. It's much nicer. It's got CarPlay. It's got navigation. I'm like, okay, and it's an automatic. I'm like, it sounds more boring, but, it's probably the smarter thing to do. So I put about 1,000 miles on that, and in my week there.
What's a Q2?
It's kind of like a VW Tiguan size, so
Okay.
it's like small crossover SUV sort of thing. It felt like a Tiguan, but I googled it because it 1.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder.
It'll be like a rebadged Volkswagen, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Got
And that's kind of what they look like. I had the S line, which had nicer seats and trim and all that.
Those are actually pretty good looking.
150 horsepower. Got great. I mean, it got what the computer said, 5.3 liters per 100 kilometers. So I did the math, and that works out to about 45 miles per gallon. So I mean, I did well on gas. Which one time I put gas in it was $8, worked out to the equivalent of $8.63 a gallon.
US gallon or
For a US gallon, yeah,
US,
because they sell it. It's interesting because they use miles and miles per hour, but everything else is metric, so liters, Celsius. So I paid $1.70 per liter the one time I fueled up, which partly was the roadside service I stopped at had no regular, so I had to put 97 octane in. So I had which isn't the top of the line, but it was like it's an upgrade. It's more than it needed. So their octane ratings are a little bit different than ours. So that probably works out to about 92, 93 for us. But when I was looking at gas prices elsewhere, 155, 160 per liter is kind of the going rate for the cheaper stuff. So I spent a little more than I had to at the Oxford services.
Well, California does a good job of softening you up for gas prices anywhere else.
Yeah, I wasn't too bad. I put 50 pounds worth of gas in, and that lasted me for the rest of the trip. So.
Yeah, something I realized when I was in Europe back last year was the multitude of tiny hatchbacks and wagons everywhere.
Yeah.
Seemed like it was mostly wagons and hatchbacks,
wagons
and almost
everywhere.
probably because of the fuel economy stuff. But I was seeing my mom's car, but diesel
And taxis.
4-cylinder diesel.
Yeah, there were tons of E220 diesel wagon taxis everywhere.
Nice, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like here, I mean, like a E450 is like an $80,000 car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm imagining a 220 is probably not,
Yeah, probably.
probably like half of that.
Yeah.
But like still, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's a pretty nice taxi.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd love to see like what is are they 2 Series or 1 Series BMW hatchbacks?
There were a
One
ton of
series.
135s.
Yeah, 135s, yeah,
128, 130, all very popular.
good-looking cars, yeah.
they are.
Yeah. I remember first seeing a 128 in Gran Turismo 5 and really liking it and not understanding why it was here. And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
too young to
I
understand.
mean, it's like a Golf with a straight 6 and rear wheel drive. I mean, it sounds like the perfect hot hatch.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
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 And interesting, the most unusual car I saw was a early 80s Mazda 323. It's like
Wow.
cars we got here, but it's like they probably all rusted away there. I was driving back to the airport my last day, and he went by in the fast lane. I'm like, huh. I tried.
That thing's still around?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I mean, just some basic reminders for this week. The Tiny Car Show is tomorrow, so really looking forward to that. We're about to transform this place into a whole Japanese scene, so it'll be really cool. Everything's lined up, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then lastly, the last Carson Culture of the Year is coming up. That's at St. Mary's on September 29th. So when you're listening to this, it's like a week away or something like that. Really looking forward to that. It's the last one for the 2024 season. So I hope you guys can make it to that. Having said that, we'll go straight into the main topic of today's podcast, which is all about Goodwood, namely Goodwood Revival. But we could give a short history lesson on what Goodwood is for those who don't know. So to start off, who wants to explain what Goodwood is and why does it exist?
Well, it's a property in the south of England. It was originally like a gentleman's house. The first Duke of Richmond or something like that, built in the early 1600s on 12,000 acres, which is now kind of like still partly privately owned and partly national park land. And as these various Dukes of Richmond lived in the house, they added things that were to their own sporting tastes. So
Yes.
horse racing track, golf course, and then what in the early 1900s started developing a racetrack.
So it's kind of, imagine if any one of us was to be gifted a 12-acre property. So 12 acres?
12,000
acres.
12,000 acres.
12,000 acre property. What would we do with it?
It's very
And you have
realistic.
all the money you could ever use
You
for
can just
anything.
print
Exactly.
the shillings or whatever it is.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, guys, from the 1600s till now haven't
thing.
changed a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that racetrack was developed in the early to late 40s after the war. It was finished after the war.
Yeah.
And it's kind of attributed to be the first thing that got the British auto racing and car culture back alive. Obviously, it was pretty messed up after the war. I mean, it was, the war was pretty crazy, obviously. But yeah, that track was also the first track that was a permanent track in Britain. So that is another thing that is attributed to it. It was the first permanent track. And really, that's it. That's a short history lesson. But it was a big, huge estate that has been developed over time. So that brings us into the actual event.
I was going to say, all I thought it was, because the only videos I always see are it's just a hill climb.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was just like a road with just like a simple section where cars just kind of went up and down.
Yeah, until this month, I thought it was a road that was open to the public, and then twice a year it was closed.
Yeah,
and
right.
it was used Nürburgring was used as like a hill climb.
Yeah. And what's amazing is when you're there for a revival, I have no idea where the hill climb is. It's like a totally different part of the property.
Okay.
And I think it's closer to the house, the Goodwood house.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that was nowhere
you can,
near
you can
where
see
I
the
was.
building when the video is.
Yeah.
How do you get
very
around on 12,000 acres? Is it golf carts? Do you drive? Horseback?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
carriage.
I mean, we have a few pictures that I took from some higher overlooks that just show some of the different parts of where the revival is, but it's massive. This whole scale. So this picture we have here is, so there's like at most racetracks, there's kind of an overcrossing that goes over the track to get you from one section to the other. And this is kind of the vendor area. You can kind of see there's like a kind of old time carnival going on over there. The vendors, unlike your typical vendor row at Laguna Seca during Car Week, these are actually interesting. There are a lot of stuff that people are making in small, garage businesses.
Mm-hmm.
There's several car dealers, classic car dealers, vintage car dealers that have some cars on display for sale there.
Nice.
A lot of great food vendors. There's bars around every corner because the English do tend to drink.
Nice.
Pubs.
I kind of
yeah.
see, I'm looking at some of the outfits
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah, 75% of the people are dressed in period.
Nice.
Is that Arsham?
Yeah, and a 908.
I know, yeah.
The car park. These are car park pictures. So The Goodwood event is 66 and earlier for the racing, and they have special areas in the car
Bentley.
parks for pre-66 and then 67 to like 80, and so there's also little car shows within the parking lot.
Nice.
And the incredible thing is the muddy, dirty, wet cars that you see parked out there that you would never see at a California.
Yeah, I mean, this
event.
is probably like what, $250,000.
Yeah, it was like a CSL Batmobile, just in the rain, and you can see the Maserati with the tarp over it parked
Yeah.
in front of it. So he obviously that's a leak.
They just drive all their cars.
And they do. That's
They have
I
to,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
That's one thing that's always like I started picking up
That's nice.
British car magazines when I was like a teenager, and that's the one thing I always really liked is how they just use their cars
Yeah.
and they're dirty and they're out there.
It would be so much cooler to see cars like this in like a natural element than for me than going to Pebble.
Yeah.
And looking
Oh,
at,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
at beauty
Yeah.
queens. Yeah.
this is definitely like a much more interesting experience, I think. I didn't go, but like it does seem like it would be a much more interesting
And this
experience.
sort of culture is starting to pick up more in the US with Velocity Invitational and things, Rolex Reunion like that. The people are actually using their valuable stuff, so it's good to see. I think Velocity is kind of styled after Goodwood.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I've never been to that one.
They put
That's
that
next
sort
weekend.
of-
Yeah.
The white fencing and the look of Goodwood is kind of tried to replicate.
Next year, if we want to go, we should all get passes for it. I know you're going. We should all do it next year.
For Velocity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Kevin.
So
And if you go back to that racetrack shot, so that was I think at St. Mary's Corner or something like that. But compared to like the historics at Monterey, you get pretty close. You're pretty close to the track. I was standing at that fence thinking, if something went wrong, you could get hurt as a spectator.
Oh,
Here.
is that the actual revival? track?
That's the track right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first ever race at Goodwood was in 1948 in September. This was the pivotal thing that like launched car culture back into in Britain. The revival started 50 years later in in the exact same month, and it's been happening ever since, I think.
Yeah. So 26 years.
Yeah, it's 26 years. So in general, this is your first time, and we haven't been at all. But how was this year's event?
It was incredible. I mean, it really ruins you for other events. Beyond the racing is incredible. These guys are really going all out racing. There are cars spinning off the tracks. There are cars coming in with body damage from bumping into each other on the track. But beyond that, it's the fashion. Everybody, just how much everybody puts into it. Everybody is really. You could tell these people are passionate about it. Just every spectator. People pushing their kids around in kind of old school prams. Instead of it was an experience. I would really consider giving up a lot of Monterey Car Week next year to go to this again.
that's a big statement.
Yeah.
Well, especially now. I mean, Monterey Car Week is so like
Right.
hoity-toity.
And so this is pretty much pre-66 and older. So you have cars from the early 1900s up through 66. You've probably seen on YouTube some of the videos where they've got the Minis and the Big Four Galaxies and all these cars on the track together, and they're just all.
They actually try to replicate that at Velocity.
Okay.
Yeah, they did
Okay.
that for the last 2 years. Mini
Okay.
versus Mustang.
I'm gonna have to check that
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
It looked like, from the pictures and from some of the things I saw online, that Goodwood seems to keep a lot of focus on the culture, on true car culture, as opposed to what we saw in Monterey, which would be more on like the who's who,
Yeah. Yeah.
of everything outside of car
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and fun fact: the reason why Radwood is called Radwood is because
Goodwood,
of Goodwood.
Goodwood.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason, and they wanted to completely copy the dress in 80s culture, 80s music, and all that jazz, and they do like a pretty good job of it. I mean, like if you combine like Radwood with Velocity and like mash them together, I mean, it would basically be an 80s, 90s, early 2000s like Goodwood. But yeah, what were the highlights?
Is it like a 2-day event, 3-day
It's three.
event?
What's a 3-day? So it's
3-day
Friday.
event, yeah.
Friday is a practice day. There is a race at the end of Friday. Saturday, Sunday are racing days.
Okay.
The way my schedule was, I kind of booked this a little bit on the late side. So Saturday was already sold out, so I couldn't get a Saturday ticket. So I had a Friday ticket, and then by Sunday I had to be up in Manchester. So I just did one day. But I mean, the highlights. I mean, it rained most of the time I was there, and it sounds like it rained the whole weekend, but drizzly at least. But that really didn't dampen
like it could.
anybody's spirits. I mean, the cars are sliding around the track. The racing was incredible. Compared to the food you get at like Monterey or Laguna Seca, the food from the food vendors was really good. It was just fun seeing people dressed in period. I ran into some friends from OTS who were there supporting a Ferrari Monza, I think it was, that one of the was driving. They gave me a team wristband so I could get in and out of the pits and in and out of the paddock. And just, these guys working on these vintage cars, a lot of them with like vintage tools. They're all dressed in period. It was just the whole experience was really cool.
Is the paddock actually open to general public?
Part of it is. Okay. So the section, I think, and I'm not sure how it's broken down, but it seemed like the section with like the most valuable cars was like you'd have to either have a pass like I had, or you could apparently buy a paddock pass, which I did not have. So.
Ooh. And the ticket price is like not too crazy, right?
It's
like,
not. Yeah, I think my package that I bought was like 129 pounds or something like that, and that gave me entry, a roving grandstand pass, so I can get to all the grandstands, and then a program. So
you couldn't buy anything in Monterey for $100. About $150 or so. Yeah.
So, from your experience inside the paddock, is it worth buying the paddock pass?
Yeah, especially if you. I assume the pass would be good. Well, assuming the pass is good for all 3 days. I'm not sure if you'd have to buy one for each day, but it would be worth having at least for one of the days to check out the cars there. Yeah. And then knowing somebody and being able to get into the pit area was and watching these cars come in because they actually do come in and pit. Unlike Monterey, because the sessions are a little bit longer.
Oh wow!
Some of the races they actually do driver changes, and where I was standing, I was right above the pit, so you could just look down and watch all this happen.
Oh, were you with all of them?
Yeah,
that was happening. No, that's cool.
That was
that was a good spot.
Friday afternoon.
Based off the photos, at least.
Yeah, it was a really good spot. Nice. And then where we were, you see these cars coming out of the last corner, and there is a chicane down there now. And there are these guys just like coming out of the corner sideways, and they're just fully committed.
It's the best section to get videos of the cars coming out. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. So when you told me that when I saw you last week, I immediately went home and I asked the wife, and I said, "Hey, I want to go to Goodwood next year in England. Hands up." And I got the okay.
All right, so here we go. So we got to start planning this.
I told her it was only a week.
It'd be fun to go to that.
I would be down. It's after your anniversary, so you're in the clear.
Yes, And that's what that was the first thing she asked.
Skip car week.
Skip car week and go to Goodwood.
Is it after anniversary?
We'll start banking your credit card miles and get a nice flight out there. We'll find a house somewhere down. So like the other guys were staying they did an Airbnb down closer to because it's pretty close to the South Coast.
It's not $1,000 a night, is it?
No. Yeah. That was the other thing.
Or $1,000 a room.
Everything is
significantly,
everything. I booked late, and everything is significantly less expensive. I was in a pretty nice inn that was probably dated from the 1700s, and I think I spent maybe $200 a night.
Oh wow! So, can you actually stay on the property?
There is a Goodwood hotel.
That's probably expensive.
Yeah, it's probably expensive and it's probably booked up. Yeah. But it might be worth looking at. But yeah, I drove past it on the way to get into the car park. Nice. You go right by it, and they have a bus that goes from, and it's like a double-decker bus that goes from the hotel into the track to bring in and out.
Is there a central town nearby Goodwood, or is it just like
the town that the property is part of is called Chichester, and so it's in the south. I was in an area called Haslemere. I know some people through the optometry group in England, so I basically said, hey, could you guys recommend a place nearby? It doesn't have to be really nice, but I don't want to get stabbed, walking to my car. And so they gave me a few places to look at, and I was in this inn that was from probably 300 years old. Yeah.
Cool. So that's Goodwood. If you have any other additional comments to add that we've missed, please make sure to leave your comment down below. Remember, this is the Revival, not the Festival of Speed, which is where we're not talking about speed records or anything. But yeah. All right. So now Marketplace finds. So I thought it would be fun to find a few vehicles that could hurt you if you buy them. So let me just clear some tabs to make the room for this. So I picked.
Is this like anything pre-70?
No.
Oh,
So this is a
Oxford.
that would
82 Fox body with a big turbo. It has 1,300 horsepower. And this is a bad,
That is a big turbo.
bad photo, but if you can see
that almost looks photoshopped.
yeah.
That's so ridiculous.
So that's why I figured this car could hurt you because it has T-tops. So they're structurally and it's not very very good.
I love how T-tops is the highlighted feature of the car.
Yeah, and 1,300 horsepower, pure death. That's what I think. That's my biggest. That was my biggest car that could hurt you. But there's two other ones.
I would definitely, if it could hook up, it would definitely twist in half.
Yeah. Then this is whatever this is. It's an Argo for kids. I don't know what this is, but it's like a military
6x6.
6x6 thing.
I had
So I
this
think
Argo, but they would rather have a Razor.
whatever that means, I don't know. But this is pretty crazy. That's my second find, and then my third find is something that I don't know if it's probably like a kit or something, or like some sort of like, I don't know. But this is
Okay.
like it's for junior racing, I guess. But it's like this tiny little thing that because it's also most likely a death trap. But yeah, those are my marketplace finds, short and sweet today. But
nice.
like,
I'm
Nice,
right in the
they say
background
nice
there.
either.
Yeah.
Back there.
It looked nice next to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably where it's
And no engine.
yeah, just stay right there where it is in Antelope. So yeah, and that brings us into the member Discord finds. So there's a couple of interesting things that members found. I think Kale found this one. This is a nice looking Alpha.
Buso? Is that a Buso? Yeah.
It's a Alfa Romeo GTV Spider.
I think it is. I think that is the Buso V6.
Buso?
So.
The engine.
Oh yeah, the Buso. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
V6.
Man, that thing is ugly.
Yeah, but it's an interesting car to like
Oh
if you
my
like
God.
Alphas, like to own at
This
least.
has to be a
Yeah.
Zagato, right? It looks like a Zagato.
No, it's not. I don't think it's a God about
The
it.
design
You've got to
says-
love Alphas.
Is it a U.S. car? It's on a dealer plate. Oh
No.
no, not registered in
Yeah,
California.
I don't think
Okay.
you can register
Yeah.
this in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, it says right.
Look at
It
his
says in the
face.
description.
Yeah, those little eyes, those little beady eyes.
Yeah, this is always a car that I thought was pretty ugly, even when they were like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
kind
buy
of
this
modern.
just for that engine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's still an interesting thing to own. Just to like say you have it.
Probably.
I
make
didn't
it
know
black.
these were spiders, but I mean, so is this the GTV like the new like a GTV predecessor?
Yeah, maybe.
Or I mean,
Yeah.
a new
I
version.
wonder
I
what
don't
country it came from.
know.
This is what bankrupted them almost.
Yeah, but this is crazy though.
Like I said, just when you think you saw every Alpha,
There's always some really interesting, really interesting alphas. And then my second one, Jake found. I thought Sean would like this specifically because I'm standing next to one right here.
Regular-
But this is a Ford F-150 regular cab,
What?
and the
Really?
cab is a pool table,
oh man, that's money.
fully functional pool table.
That is money.
Yeah,
Only for 3 players though.
so you could buy this and rent it out.
Hustler.
Yeah, for $9,000. I can't believe.
We need this
Jake
in
found
the
this.
warehouse.
Yeah, no, instead of this.
That's it's so Tennessee too.
Yeah, it is. But yeah,
It's
those
got
are,
stickers in the front.
What do you think was going through his mind?
he
besides
probably
whole
had
lot
a
of
great
meth?
idea of a truck that wasn't running. Was like, I can put a pool table on this and then rent it out. And now he, got it running and rents it out.
It's
Probably.
a tailgating truck.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah, it probably is. Huh? It's great for tailgating. But those are the Discord finds. Like I always say in every episode, if you remember and you're not part of the Discord, join the Discord because there's a lot of like interesting cars that get listed there. We do drives, all that stuff.
Why would they say it's a fully functional pool table?
Yeah, I mean the pool table doesn't need to
Well,
function much,
fully
right?
function.
Even though you
Yeah.
can't hit from one side.
Yeah, it kind of just like
Fully
it just sits there and
Just in the
does
back
nothing. But please join the Discord if you're a member. Link down in the description. We do drives. We do drive some nights. We do evening events. We do, you could put listings of your cars or cars you find. Get recommendations for, there's people asking for recommendations for audio specialists and like mechanics and stuff, and we're always listening. Like we're always getting recommendations for people. So it's a good resource to have, and it's free if you're a member. So
Yeah, and shouts out to those Discord members, and I thank them because they're actually ruining their own feeds as opposed to ours.
Yeah. My feed's getting better every day now, which is great. But yeah, it's a fun time. So please join. And so that brings us into the scenario. So staying along the Goodwood line, You're going to Goodwood 2025, but staying in Aberystwyth in Wales. I'm not sure, but I mean, I guess found the most east,
Welsh.
the
Is that a Welsh
farthest
name?
away place.
It's a long
Welsh
ways,
name.
yeah.
Do they have dragons there?
They might.
Really dragon?
Probably.
So you're staying there. It's 260 miles away from the Goodwood racetrack. So the money is there's no object. You have to pick a British car that takes you on your drive to park amongst the others. It doesn't need to have any. There's no years. It's just British car.
Triumphs, stags.
Is it the object there to get there the fastest, or
Just get there.
No,
Just
just get there and
probably-
enjoy the
Yeah,
experience.
in some style.
But you have to get there.
You have to get there and you have to enjoy it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you're driving a Mini for 260
You're not going to
miles,
get there.
you're not going to enjoy it either.
You're not gonna get there.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
I'm gonna choose like a TVR Cerbera or a Sagaris maybe.
What is it called? TVR.
TVRs. Sagaris, Sagaris. Those will be pretty cool, I
You
think.
may not get there with that, but
Sagaris.
One of these.
Yeah, I've seen.
Hey,
it
this
once.
looks like a lot like that car the EV car that did the hill climb at like record-breaking speeds.
No, this is not
McMurtry?
McMurtry. Yeah,
I know, but it looks very similar to it, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
this is like a really weird looking thing, but it's got like a great V8 engine. Yeah, it's really spectacular.
Yeah, you probably get there. Is it like a Ford V8 or something?
Yeah.
I thought it was their own design. Well,
Oh,
some
okay.
of these are, or maybe it was the 6 cylinders that were the TVR engines.
Yeah, I got to sit in one of these at Velocity last year. It's really weird inside. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably pretty like interestingly designed. It's probably why they don't
yeah,
exist here.
like
There's
shape of
nothing.
the dials and switches. The door switches like on the center
Yeah,
console and
Just
stuff like that.
useless, useless areas.
It's like the British Viper sort of vibe
Mhm.
to me.
Yeah, yeah, very
that
much.
sort of vibe.
Nice.
Sean, what
Can
about
I
you?
can I go with the Jaguar?
Which
the
one?
The XJ220.
XJ220?
Yeah. Can I go with that? But with my my LS swap.
Yeah. You want to be that guy? That's fine.
You don't want a V12.
So this, but instead of a V6, it's a V6. Remember,
It's a V6.
they were going to do
That's why
V12.
my LS swap it.
V6 twin turbo.
Just to be a jerk.
I think
Oh, that's a
initially
V12.
Oh, that's a V12?
it's a
V12.
V12. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a
V6.
V6 turbo.
I thought so too.
Okay.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
they
the
made-
race car. That's the
Because that one,
V12.
Wait,
that
wait,
last
what's that
picture,
other
that
one?
last
Yeah.
picture was a V6.
Was a V6, yeah.
Maybe the V12 was like the
The
prototype. or
concept.
something.
Concept was V12.
Yeah, concept.
Finally, it
Oh, yeah.
ended up being a V6.
Because it was too expensive, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, it was a long project. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just didn't work out.
Yeah, because that's what they, yeah.
Yeah, it was sad when I became
Probably
V6.
caught on fire too often.
Yeah, it's a cool car though. I mean, that would arrive probably, and it would arrive definitely in style. You would get first. You would get. That's probably like
Ooh.
God to them. I mean,
Yeah.
right here, it's a Goodwood,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, that's like the hill climb area.
that's the hill climb.
Yeah.
What about you?
Knowing that you get the best parking if you're pre-66, and this is actually a car that I've really been kind of wanting more and more lately, especially after seeing them on the track. A Jaguar Mark II. One of the pictures I had sent you was one.
Oh yeah, I'll put that up too.
But yeah, I mean,
This is one of the most beautiful sedans.
they are.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's so
they were,
beautiful.
and they were like known as they were the bank robber cars of the day because they were fast.
Wow.
And when you see these things, I mean, they don't look it, but you see them on the track, and they're really well composed, and they're keeping up with fast cars.
What motor is it? Like a
It's
six
a
cylinder?
3.86. That's a weird one.
That's not.
3.8.
Landon
Yeah,
cab.
3.8
Landon
liter
cab.
6.
But this is apparently one of the most beautiful sedans ever, right?
Mhm.
It's really nice. That silver's nice.
And I actually would kind of like one of these.
These are inexpensive, right?
They're not super pricey. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I think they're
What is that
cheap.
on the hood of that silver one?
It's a squid arm. I don't know. It's probably
Okay.
just like some weird British thing. Yeah, you see them around in like here in Berkeley and stuff,
Yeah,
but like
Berkeley
they're all
for
like
sure.
completely beat to shit, and like they don't look great.
Two.
I'm just curious on the prices on
Yeah.
these things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a project for $1,200.
Yeah, so like
yeah,
seems
20
like
26 for one that looks nice.
a
with
pretty
the
good
4-speed.
one.
Yeah.
A project 17 grand. So like 20. Yeah, this
20
is
grand,
a great.
yeah.
This is a great. But you should sell your 6.9 and buy one of these.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the next.
Yeah, this is cool. And the real the best one in the world is 90,000. So this is like the same price as an E20 M5. This is pretty funny. The experience is probably so different.
Mm-hmm.
I picked two. This one I love these a lot.
Is it a James Bond?
I really like them.
Yeah,
I don't like
yeah.
this color.
Yeah,
It's a
totally.
Mustang.
Yeah, I love them, and I like the fact that they're not that expensive. I mean, like this was expensive, but like you can find these and they're not that. I mean, you can get automatics and everything. Like they're like, I just like everything about them.
Is there an X-Pac version of this? Or
I
was
wish
it-
there's a what?
is there an X-Pac version of this?
I don't know.
And one of the pictures of the car park, I had one of these, a muddy one of these parked
Mm.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I love these. I love this
They
car.
look like a muscle
I
car.
like
They
every
do.
time I see one around it. They're cool. They just it just makes me. It's just so masculine looking. I mean, obviously it looks like a Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably what they were trying to go for, but I just like the way they look a lot. And then in honor of the Top Gear special, I picked a Stag because I actually really enjoyed watching the Stag move around,
Yeah.
and I thought it was really cool. And I
you
like
should,
that they're
you should
20
say
grand.
it like James May said it.
Yeah,
Triumph
I just love.
Stag.
I love that these are 20 grand, and they're really they're kind of cool. Like I don't know. I mean, like the way they filmed it made it seem like I kind of wanted to get one. Like
Let's see the rear end. Or, yeah.
This was the car that broke down the least during
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
yeah, and like I understand like in that series, like the Ford didn't do anything for me. That was in that
Lancia?
series. The
Lancia
Lancia was
Monte Carlo?
cool,
Yeah.
but you know they're not available here ever. I think so. It's like hard for me to like really get into it. But this like I really could like kind of I resonated with it, and I thought it was cool. It's like a good like GT, just like comfortable cruising car. See if I can find the rear end for you.
There we go.
Not the most attractive thing in the world, but you know, it's
There was a purple one of these at Canepa for a long time for sale.
yeah. And this was an automatic with the dog in it, where the radio should be. But
Cushion in the back seat.
yeah, it's interesting. It's a cool car. I still would pick the Aston Martin, but
Yeah.
the Stag is like a poor man's version of it. It's still kind of masculine, like V8 slow, but like has that same DNA, like the same recipe, which is nice. But yeah, that's it for the scenario. Please leave a comment down below what you would be taking to Goodwood if you had to pick a British car, money no object. And without further ado, anything else before we close out?
Reliant Robin.
Reliant Robin. We can't do 2 podcasts in a row with a Reliant Robin in it.
Yeah, that's a good option to go to Goodwood.
Yeah, it would get there maybe if you didn't turn, it would get there.
Yeah.
Driving on the left was fun. It was an experience. It was
Yeah.
my first time
Oh,
driving,
really? Yeah.
driving on the wrong side of the road. And
You
wrong
get
side of the
used
car.
to it, but
Yeah.
you have to think.
Yeah.
You really have to think about it.
Especially the first day.
Yeah,
First
yeah.
day, it was a lot of thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
in the rain,
Yeah.
and then navigating roundabouts.
Yeah. Yeah. Left turns are fun.
Were you going to say anything?
Oh, yes. Appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's great to see that we're growing as a channel.
Yeah.
And we can't grow without you.
Yeah,
So
people
if you
seem to
the
like
video. Help us out.
Yeah, people seem to like the new format. Please comment down below any feedback. We are very malleable at this stage and want to just make sure we enjoy recording them, but want to make sure that people enjoy watching them. And it seems like this is working, so we'll keep doing it this way. But without further ado, we'll end it. See you next week.
Cool.